All right. Hey everyone, Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thanks for joining me for another live stream where we're going to be covering Bitcoin and a bunch of other markets. Okay, hold on, let me adjust my microphone. Just give me a second. All right, now, so again, today's a holiday. Thank you all again for joining me. I don't expect to have like a lot of people listening today, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. One thing I'm going to ask is when you want to share your symbol in the chat, please make sure to share one symbol per person, because what's been happening is someone will put like 5 symbols in one request and I spend like 20 minutes on that one question. I'd like it to be fair for everyone. So one symbol per person. You can ask for a second symbol, but just do it per one line. Like, you know, so you ask one and then someone else asks one and then you ask one again, that kind of thing. So it's okay for multiple symbols, just not all in the same question. Okay, that's all I ask. All right, cool. So with that being said, let's get started. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, so let's get the chart up here. Hold on one second and hold on here. Let me just, you know how this thing works. All right, so let me just put this in. All right, we're gonna use this over here. Okay, and here we go. You know, I should know how to use this thing by now. Anyway, hey everyone, okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over Bitcoin, right? I'm only going to focus on my three markets, and then we're going to move on to your questions. So Bitcoin, NASDAQ, gold, and then your questions. All right. So I want to try to make this as quick as possible because you know I talk too much. Now, so it's good to see everyone here again. Thank you for joining me on this holiday. Let's go over the economic calendar first. I'm not going to show it on my screen. I'm simulcasting on TradingView. TradingView has its own economic calendar, so I highly suggest you use that one to follow along if you want to. I just like to use the one that I use. Okay, it's just a personal preference. There's no, specific reason. All right, now, so real quick, this is important because as we enter the new month, we want to be aware of the economic reports in case there are any big ones that are scheduled, and there might be, right? So let's talk about tomorrow, 6/1. We have Australia interest rate decision. That's going to be important if you're in any Aussie, possibly New Zealand pair. I wouldn't worry too much about the dollar. Switzerland has their GDP. Okay, no big deal there. Consumer price index for Europe. Again, these aren't big market movers. I'm only concerned really about the dollar here or interest rates for the US because that moves everything. It's just the way it is. Also on tomorrow, GDP for Canada. All right, so if you're in a Canadian pair or something, could have an effect. We have for the US, ISM manufacturing PMI. Now, I don't have the timestamps on this because the calendar that I use changed and they don't show the timestamps, throughout the week like they used to. So if you're interested in a particular piece of news, you should definitely check the timestamp. But usually ISM manufacturing PMI is usually around 10 a.m. Eastern time. I can remember that. Also, we have Bank of England Governor Bailey's speech. Again, these aren't a big deal, but that's a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. Okay, on the 2nd, we have German retail sales, Australia retail sales, or Australia trade balance. On the 3rd, we have ADP for the US, ADP employment change. Have to keep an eye on that number, okay? That's usually a hint toward NFP. NFP is non-farm payrolls, which usually comes out the first Friday of every month. And it's important because the Federal Reserve uses that as an inflation gauge, or they use that as a factor in their decision-making process for interest rates, right? That's why it's such a big deal. Now, the ADP employment change is usually a hint toward the possible job situation. If there are any surprises there, it can throw the stock market off. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about the stock market and Bitcoin relationship here today. ISM ISM services PMI. That's also on the 3rd, okay? And then we also have, for the pound, Bank of England Monetary Policy Report hearings, Governor Bailey's speech. Again, important if you're in the pound, all right? Probably it can cause some movement in the pound. Retail sales for Europe on the 4th, all right? That's a Friday. That's probably early. I'm guessing that's probably going to be around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., maybe 4 a.m. Eastern time. Maybe 7 a.m. Eastern time. Then we have non-farm payrolls, okay? Like I just said, the first Friday of every month, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time is when that report comes out, right? And also there's a Canadian unemployment rate and net change. Okay, no one cares about that. So NFP. The most important economic scheduled event that we have each month. If there are any negative surprises. Now, we saw the previous NFP wasn't so good. I don't know if anyone remembers a month ago. It wasn't so good, and the market rallied, right? So it's not trying, the goal of this is not to try to look at the logic and say, oh, good report means better good report means positive movement for the market, right? It's not that kind of thing. You have to think of it as range expansion, okay? So if there's a surprise or whatever, whether it's negative or positive, it can cause a move one way or the other. Range expansion. It's not about predicting which way it's going to go. It's just understanding that the range, the daily range, could be wide. And you want to be prepared for something like that in case that thing is going against you. That's more important for like intraday stuff. But anyway, I wanted to mention it. All right, let's get on to my charts real quick. I want to talk about Bitcoin first. All right, now we had quite a number of people recognize, right, because obviously they listened to me very carefully. They recognized the buy signal that we had over here, which generated earlier today. Now, we talked about this in the chat room earlier and stuff. We talked about this situation. We're not very interested or very enthusiastic into getting into something like this, okay? The reason is the broader momentum, this momentum that we saw, the 40K break and all that stuff, that's still in play. The other thing that we need to keep an eye on is this resistance right here. This is around 40K. What is that? 40, basically 40,900 area. That area right there is the lower high resistance. That's still intact, right? Which means this little buy signal doesn't have as much going for it as when we are in a nice clear-cut bullish structure, right? Which we're not exactly right now. The bigger picture is bullish. The longer term is bullish, yes. But the midterm or the medium picture is mixed, okay? And that's why I'm going for that wave 4 consolidation. The short term, which is the most recent structure, still has that bearish momentum that we're dealing with because we have this lower high. Now, we haven't pushed the low yet, but here's what I wanted to say about the stock market earlier. Bitcoin tends to have this relationship right now, okay? And it's following the stock market. Now, what I was saying earlier to our people, you want to respect that relationship until it's not there anymore, right? Relationships change. So 1 minute it's there, then it's not there, right? And you just have to look at it that way. Right now, we're going to talk about the NASDAQ here in a moment. If the resistance on that NASDAQ really makes itself felt over the next few days, especially going into NFP, if there are any surprises, and you see the dramatic push lower, right, in the NASDAQ and the S&P, this is probably going to break, right? And that's why we're not very interested in longs. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't take one. Again, I'm looking at this from a swing trade perspective. It's an aggressive long, aggressive. Now, I see some questions here in the chat about, I saw a question here about the reward risk is barely, it's not really the best, right? And I agree with that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't take an aggressive trade, but we're not sharing this one because it's not the best situation, okay? Again, we're dealing with a lot of bearish structure. What I'd like to see, and Andrew mentioned this also, is the clearance of the 40K or even as high as 46K, because that shows that there's more stability in the market. So what? We don't get the best price. We're not after the best price. We're after a favorable environment. And sometimes it will actually, in order to get the better environment, you have to give up the best price. The best price, sure, you may get the best price, but a lot of times you're going to get stopped out and faked out trying to get that best price. So it can be expensive, right? Now, there are times when it makes more sense to step in front of something like that, right? When you're having a nice, clean-cut, bullish structure, higher lows and higher highs all over the place, right? Like that. But we don't have that right now. We have a support break. We have another resistance in place. So we have some bearish structures. Now, 30K is support. 30K is still in play. People want predictions from me, but we don't predict, right? Because anyone that tries to predict is just fooling themselves. All we know is 30K is in play. If it breaks, we're looking at 26K. If it doesn't break and it can hold itself up, especially if the NASDAQ has a problem, then that could turn into a much better buy signal. If I'm going to take a buy signal for a swing trade in Bitcoin, I'd prefer to get the better reward risk if I have to buy in this situation, Okay, so I would like it nearer 30K. This thing right now is at 36.7. It's sucking a lot of people in. There are buy signals across the board in altcoins all over the place. I don't like it. All right, someone here says, looking for one of my rants today. That's not good, because that means people are they're saying unpredictable. That means I'm not a good poker player, right? You can't be predictable. So no rant today. No, I'm just kidding. How can I do a stream without a rant? Anyway, so that's my thing about Bitcoin. Risk is not exactly the best, although it's an aggressive trade. So aggressive means it may work, but you have to be quick if it doesn't work, right? And some people are going to say, well, can't I define risk from 33.5? You can, but chances of that getting tapped are very high. So the key to something like that is, if you take the trade because you want to give that a try, okay. But if it turns the wrong way, you can't sit there and go into hope mode. I see so much. I got a story about hope mode here in a moment. I'm not going to do it now. I'll go over it in a second. But yeah, you can't get into hope mode. You have to have the confidence to get out right away if it's not going your way. That's one of these situations. Now, when it comes to sending a signal to many people, we have to be mindful of that. We can't just send something out, because a lot of people don't have the confidence to get out of something right away. They go into hope mode. And then what do? They go check out their favorite guru, or they go here, they go there. Let's see what other people are saying. Let's see what they're saying on Twitter, right? And those are the wrong places to be getting information, all right, for that type of decision. So you get stuck in the position, and then it just, hammers you out. And then when do you bang it out? When it looks its absolute worst. And that's often when that's the best time to get in, okay? Anyway, it's an emotional thing. So let's move on from Bitcoin here. I'm going to answer your questions here in a moment. So thank you for sharing them. I see some questions here on TradingView also. So that's cool. Let's talk about the NASDAQ. Now, the market was closed today, right? The stock market, bonds were closed today for the market holiday. Okay, that's cool. So, but there was what? This thing is minus 38 points or whatever. On a closed market day, if the bonds are closed and the stocks are closed, you can't expect much movement unless there's some kind of catalyst that comes out of nowhere. Getting involved in this stuff is a complete waste of time. Now, for the week ahead, though, again, the whole point of this type of stream is to gather clues from the charts to see if we can gauge reward risk for the coming days, right? So where's the most risk? Where are potential rewards, and what do the structures on the charts look like, so that we can better anticipate what's likely to unfold next? That's the best we can do. If the market gives us different information, then we have to adjust. But right now, based on this, what we are seeing on the NASDAQ, this thing has been stuck, okay, at that 13,700 area, as you see. It's been giving us these little doji type indecisive candles, and it looks like we're getting the sell signal right now, taking out yesterday's low. Friday's low, I mean. So when there's no volume, you can't really take that very seriously. But when volume comes in, I mean, this thing may get hammered. I also saw some information that suggested that a sharp move lower is being priced into option premiums, which is very interesting, because those aren't retail traders doing that. That's smart money, right? So if smart money is preparing for something like that, that could mean something. You can't trade on that, but it's good to know. All right, so anyway, if we do get that dramatic pullback, we're looking at this thing going back to like maybe what, 13.4. An ideal situation would be to break 13.2. I wouldn't expect that in one candle. That can take a few days to play out, right? But all I can tell you is we are at this resistance. It is stuck here. And let's take a look at the S&P real quick, right? And this is going to be good for shorts, not good for longs. Look at the S&P, all right? Look at this thing, failing to break this high, all right? Everyone gets all excited. This is why you cannot be optimistic at highs. Everyone all excited, oh, the stock market's safe again. No, it's not. This is a potential double top or lower high, right? And we're right in the middle of this holiday volume, so it's meaningless, right? All you know is you're at a resistance, high risk. Not a good place for longs. Good place for potential shorts, but we don't short. We stay away from a lot of individual stock shorts. You're better off looking at an index. So SQQQ, right? Someone is actually, Sean, had a great idea. He was actually lowering his buy stop to get into this. This thing is basically the long version of being short the NASDAQ, right? So you don't actually have to get short. You can buy this thing, which is an ETF, and if the NASDAQ goes lower, this thing goes higher. So in my opinion, it's a more risk-controlled way to participate on the short side without getting caught in those sharp squeezes, which can be very difficult to sit through, especially if you don't get a good price. So he lowered his buy stop to 11 and a quarter or whatever, which I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, this thing, you know, and his stop loss is like around, what, 10 and a half? So if this thing goes, meaning the NASDAQ pulls back, this thing can run to 14, maybe 15, maybe higher, because when it goes fast. So the reward risk makes sense on the short side, right? And that's what we're looking at. So those are the, you know, that's really the only trade that I like right now, because I don't like stocks long in this situation. All right, so one thing I wanted to talk about real quick before I get into your questions, gold. One more thing, gold, right? Gold has been doing very well. Tries to pull back, but it doesn't go for very long. It doesn't pull back much, okay? We're out of gold. Our swing trade, our third target was 1880. As many know, that trade went on for 3 months or whatever, 2.5 months. We got into that thing at March 30th, right, off the double bottom, and we got it. This was our target zone right here, this box, and we're out of that trade. So that's nice. I'm looking to get back into gold, but not at the highs, okay? I mean, am I still bullish on gold? Sure. And look at silver, right? AG. Here's AG, which is a silver mining stock. I called this one a while back, and you had about 2 weeks to get into this thing as it fluctuated between my buy price and getting near that stop, right? The stop was 14. These things close around 1480 area, and now this thing, what, closed at 1778 on Friday? Nice. All right, so as gold continues higher, I'm expecting a breakout on this thing. I'm just mentioning it because there's really no reason to be worried about gold or silver right now. And you know how I am at highs. You know how I'm always warning against highs. But gold has fundamental backing behind it right now. And even if it pulls back a bit, I'm looking for a buying opportunity, right, in this thing. So you can't buy the high, but I'd like to see a pullback. Where can it pull back to? Well, right now, a dramatic pullback will be 1850 area. I'd be happy to see that, but it's going to take a catalyst, okay? And the catalyst, the only catalyst that I can see right now for something like this is the Fed is going to have to say something or hint something about interest rates. That will turn gold right around. If they say, well, you know, we may have to raise them soon or something like that. You know how they like to play that game. They had a few comments recently which they had to sort of, you know, sidestep around about, you know, raising interest rates. Anyway, all right, cool. So those are the things I wanted to cover. I want to get to your questions now. So let's see what I have. Let me know. Also, by the way, if you're on TradingView, make sure you check out my article that I wrote yesterday. And I published it yesterday. Every week I publish an article on TradingView. If you have questions about that article, this is the best time to be asking, because it's hard for me to go on there and answer all the questions on the forum. All right, cool. So let's get this thing going as far as questions. And again, I appreciate everyone's questions. So I'm going to start here with, let's see, this other channel I got. Sean, nice to see you. Wedge, hey, cool, from warm Florida. You know, it's not warm here in New Jersey. By the way, if you want to share where you're from, what country, I always find that to be fun and very interesting, because the reach of TradingView is very cool. I'm broadcasting from northern New Jersey, or basically just out of the New York City, right outside of New York City, about 15 minutes, and it's cold here. All right, anyway, but what else is new with New Jersey? Okay, so let's see what I hear. Alex, do you think the current BTC setup is justified? All right, so I answered that question. Schwartz, good to see you. Hey, Emil, good to see you. Blue, hey, oh, from Paris. Nice, Paris. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, happy holiday. Thanks. Litecoin. All right, so let's get into Litecoin. Litecoin. Let's take a look. So now, here's the thing with these altcoins. We're going to see a lot of Bitcoin repeat here, right? That's what we're going to see. Litecoin's got the same type of buy signal. It's a little nicer pronounced on this thing because you have a nice clear-cut high or low. It's too bad these coins don't trade on their own. It's too bad they follow Bitcoin, because a setup like this, you know, I'd be much more enthusiastic about. But I know that if Bitcoin fails or Bitcoin doesn't agree, it doesn't matter how nice this looks, it's going to fail too. So a lot of people don't realize this. You know, now let me just tell you my quick story. The other night I was looking around on YouTube and I found a guy, and he had a stream going, and he had over 3,000 people in the stream. And I'm like, I got to see this, right? He was talking about Bitcoin. Well, you know, I hope for 3,000 people on there, I really hope he's giving some good information, right? And all he was doing was rattling off basic fundamentals, right? No levels. I guess at some point he talked about charts and this and that, and the chat was nuts. I mean, the people, the stuff that they were asking, there was a lot of desperate people and a lot of hope. And his conclusion was Just dollar cost average, because that's what you should do. Here's my rant. What about the risk? What could go wrong? Dollar cost average for how much? How low can it go? What if it goes to 10K? You're going to have a lot of hurting people. He didn't talk anything about size. He talked nothing about risk, nothing about levels. Just buy into it. Buy into all of them. Just buy into it, right? That was his message. 3,000 people listening to this guy. And I'm like, man, you know, I work hard, and I really try to help people get perspective and give actionable levels. Man, I can't even get 300 people. Not to mention, they were giving him donations of like $5, like real money. All right, think about that. $5, 1% of 3,000 people, that's $150 for an hour of talking about nothing. So that just goes to show. Anyway, my point about that, the reason I'm tying that into Litecoin, because people buy into this thinking, oh yeah, buy signal, right, yeah. But it doesn't trade on its own. You're buying Bitcoin. No, I'm not. I'm buying Litecoin. Right, but whatever Bitcoin does, this is going to follow. So if Bitcoin fakes out, no matter how nice this looks, it will fail. Just like Bitcoin, because they follow. This is a follower. It's not a leader. Now, if Bitcoin goes somewhere, this will go somewhere too. If Bitcoin happens to catch some buying and it starts to work its way higher, okay, fine. So that's the aggressive trade that I was talking about earlier in Bitcoin. It's the same deal here. If you get into something like Litecoin, which it's around its buy price right now, high was 181.20, buy price right now it's at 182. So basically you can get into this thing right now. If you want to use this high or low as your risk, 155, right? It's still very likely you get tapped out there, that you get stopped out there, because that's not really where the risk is right now. The risk is here, all right, which is around 117, which is the equivalent of Bitcoin 30K. So if you want to say, you know what, I still want to use that structure, okay, it's not unacceptable, all right? I'm just saying that the probability of getting stopped out if there's a fake out is high. You have to be willing to accept that if you take this type of trade. If the trade goes your way, you need to see this thing break 208. It needs to take out this high, which is equivalent to the 40K high on Bitcoin. Needs to clear that. If it fakes out up there, meaning it gives you a bearish pin bar or something, that's time for adjustment. If you have some green, you should take some green off the table at that point, because if you get that failed high, then that's turning into a broad or lower high, which means the supports are probably coming next. That's what I mean about being quick and decisive. You have to recognize that stuff and then make those decisions. You can't sit there and hope, okay? All right, so that's Litecoin. Thanks for asking. Let me jump into this other chat here. Okay, cool. Are you thinking in Elliott Wave 4? Is the first question I see there. Okay, now hold on. Does the existing support level of 30 to 32K still intact for consolidation? All right, so that's a good question about Bitcoin. Let me just jump back to Bitcoin real quick. So yeah, to answer that question, 30 to 32K is still intact. All right, and right now that's the range low. So if we are in a wave 4, which I believe we are, right now 30K is the range low of that wave 4, which means any test of 30K is going to be an attractive location, because it could be the range low, right? Range lows are great places to buy if you get the reversal signal there. You cannot step in front of it, because if it breaks, you're looking at 26K, maybe 20K. If, I have to say if in quotations, if, because it may not break, right? It's not about what the market is going to do. No one knows what the market's going to do. The market must show its hand, right? So it's going to break or it's not going to break, right? So far, it's not breaking. So far, 30K is in play. But like I said, if that stock market turns to garbage over the next few days, this thing is in a position, it's in a position to break, in a technical position. So it's something to keep in mind. That's why I emphasize risk so much. And if things turn the wrong way, and you have an opportunity to get out earlier, you should get out. Forget about hope. Get out, take the loss. You can always get back in, all right? And you don't have to get back in 2 seconds after. You wait a little bit, let it settle, and then wait to let the buying activity prove itself. Okay, so cool. That's a good question. Are you thinking we're in a wave 4? Yes. Okay, so let me see what else I got here. Hi there, Sebi. Nice to see you. What is your opinion of IAG? I am gold. Okay, let's take a look. So it's a gold. Obviously, it's a gold stock or something, right? IAG, EM Gold Corporation. All right, cool. So look, it's following gold. And so all the stocks, you can't, when you're following something like, something like gold, or you're following something like Bitcoin, that instrument is going to be the leader. So here's the thing with something like this. Right now, right, just similar to AG, similar to like WPM, which is wheat and precious metals, look, they're all kind of doing the same thing. You can't buy them now, right? The risk is higher now. You should have been buying these things back in February and March when they looked ugly and everyone was hating them, and gold was obsolete, and Bitcoin was the new gold. That was all the talk and blah blah blah. I steered our people into buying gold into those lows, right? And I was buying gold also. I still have my wheat and precious metals from 40. It's at 48, right? So here's the thing. You can't buy these now. If you're in it, nothing to do but let this thing do its job. If you're not in it, right, and I'm, like I said before, I'm looking for a new buying opportunity, a swing trade for gold itself, right, XAU. I'd like to get into another trade. My stocks are inventory, so I'm just letting them do their job. Even if they pull back, I don't care, because right now gold is in a favorable time. But I would be looking for this area right here. Okay, this area, which is what? What is the price there? $3.29, so 330 area. This thing's at 363. That's only a 30-cent pullback. I mean, percentage-wise, it's large, but it's not really a big deal. So at least some kind of pullback, because you're looking at the lows here around $3. So if you're buying it around that pullback area, you're risking probably about 50 cents. And if we get like a little sharper pullback on gold, like I said, to 1850, you should see that type of action here. But there's no reason to buy it here and take all that risk. If it goes higher without you, so what? This is not about chasing profits. This is about taking risks that are acceptable, right? And as small as possible, if that should be your objective. All right, smaller risks, bigger rewards. Not all rewards, and no risk. That's where everyone goes wrong. All right, so that was a good question. IAG. Let me see what else I have here. EW Wave 4 for BTC. Right, yeah. So let me just show that. So I see I have a couple of questions there. Elliott Wave can be very confusing. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Elliott Wave can be confusing, right? And people may be like, well, where's the Wave 4? What Wave 4 is he talking about? Because there are many magnitudes of Wave 4. This little area right here, we can consider a smaller wave 4 of this broader wave, right? People can say this is a 1, this is a 2, but that's actually not the case. You can count it that way because, again, Elliott Wave, you can't be really stuck on the absolutes. It will confuse you, right? So, and it changes a lot, so you have to be prepared to relabel. When I talk about a wave 4, I'm not talking about this recent price action. I'm talking about wave 4 relative to the wave 3 structure that made the 65K high. But here's the thing. Wave 3, that 65K high was not wave 3. That was actually part of wave 4. How can that be? It's a higher high. Wave 4s can do that. This was the top of wave 3 back here, which was what? 61.7, or basically 62K. That's the fifth wave of the broader wave 3. That's wave number 5. So then what's all this mess? Well, we have 3 in here, which is corrective, right? That's your corrective A. We have 3 over here. That's your corrective B, which usually sucks a lot of people in. And then you have 3 over here, which is a corrective C. And then you have this X wave, right, which is a random 3-legged type of corrective wave, which is basically what this is, all right? Followed by this thing, which is another A wave, because you can count, this is an impulse. You can count 5 waves in that. That's not a 3-legged type of structure right there, right? I mean, I can count 1, 2, 3, this is a 4, and maybe we get 5 lower, right? That's what we're missing right now. That's how I'm counting this. So, as far as the wave 4 that I'm talking about the broad wave 4. And in order to confirm that, right, we had to break 40K, which we cleaned right through it like it wasn't even there. So, in my opinion, this thing is in a broad wave 4. All right, so I'm going to show you, I talk about this all the time, I repeat myself a lot, but maybe there's some new people here. Broad wave 4. You see this gold chart right here? Gold. See this box I have back here? That's August, right? That's the August peak at 2075. You see that? And then we have this low here that was established in March, okay, early March at 1675. Do you see all that price action between those 2 points? All that? That's a wave 4. That's a very broad wave 4. That's what I'm looking for when I talk about wave 4. Now you say wave 4 of what? Well, let's look out. Let's kind of zoom out on gold here a bit, And let's see what gold has been doing for a long time. It's been going higher and higher and higher and higher. So as you can see, that corrective movement, right, is just a corrective structure. It's a compound corrective structure. People don't know how to trade wave fours, especially all the bull market geniuses. And we have a lot of those right now, lots of them. And they're going to be very confused because that's just how it goes. They don't understand the concept of a wave four. Wave fours are indecisive. They're full of false breakouts, and you have to adjust your expectations dramatically. So that's what I'm talking about wave four. All right. So I know it's a very long answer, but thank you for asking that question. I hope I clarified on it. Let me move forward here and answer some more questions. Okay, cool. So let's see. I got that Litecoin one. Zelta from Latvia. Hey, okay. It's cold EUR. Let's take a look. COLD EUR. What is that? Do I have the right thing in here? Let me see. Cold. Is that a coin? What is that? Cold EUR. Do I have the right symbol? COL. Oh no, I'm sorry. I can't read. I cannot read. I need glasses or something. It's CGLD ELR EUR. There we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. CGLD EUR. All right. So first thing I'm looking for is broader trend. I see a series of higher lows and higher highs. I see one. I see that structure. Okay, that's cool. But what else do we have going on here? We have this break of support, which is not that sort of tells us that this broader structure is no longer in play. Not only do we have that situation, but we have a lower high here established. So this could be in a range-bound situation. I wouldn't call this a bearish trend. It's too early for that, right? Same with Bitcoin. People are all calling for bearish trends. It's too early for a bearish trend. And it's consolidating right now. This is not a good price to get into this thing. I would be looking for the double bottom, right? If you want to be conservative with this thing and wait for a nice setup with a higher probability and more attractive reward risk, this would be the level, which is 204 and a half, basically, this area right there. All right, if you can get the buy signal around there, that would be the best place to get involved. If it breaks that, then you hold off. I mean, obviously this is on Coinbase, so it's a coin, and I'm guessing that it will follow Bitcoin. So if this thing is not trading on its own, which obviously it's not, and Bitcoin breaks, then this will probably break too. So those are the numbers that you'd have to look at. But in this situation, because it doesn't trade on its own, you need to look for Bitcoin for confirmation. Like I said, Bitcoin should look similar and should at least be providing a similar setup. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. Let me see what else I got. Man, I got a lot of questions. Okay, hold on. So let me jump back here. In what ways would an S&P affect? Okay, that's a good question. Pull back in S&P. What ways would this affect the Bitcoin and altcoin market? Well, if there's a relationship, like I said, we have to respect it. So right now, looking at the charts, if we look at the individual charts, that doesn't look like much of a relationship, right? Bitcoin had this pullback and this and that. S&P has not had a pullback. Not really. This is, it's rallied. And Bitcoin has not really rallied, right? So where's the relationship? Well, the relationship that I'm talking about is more of like a intraday type of thing, right? So here's the thing. If we get a steep pullback, right, we need something like this back here, right? We have a few days of hard selling like that. We get something like that. That's where we have to look. We have to look for the selling pressure in Bitcoin. How could it affect it is basically breaking the support. Now, let's just look back here. Let's just look at the dates real quick. Let's just look at the dates. So when was this pullback on the S&P? This was back on basically May 10th, May 9th. Let's look at Bitcoin on those dates. Okay, let's just look back here. May 10th is over here. So look, here's your answer, right? So S&P had that pullback and Bitcoin just got hammered in that. So those same dates that we saw in the S&P, now S&P recovered nicely. Bitcoin has not. So in that scenario, if S&P pulls back, Bitcoin is acting relatively weak, which means Bitcoin should go right through that 30K very easily. It should sell off if the S&P and NASDAQ feel that kind of pain. Now, people, if that occurs, right, I'm not saying it will occur, but if that occurs, you're going to have all kinds of experts coming out saying, people are getting margined out of their stocks. so they have to sell their Bitcoin to cover their margin call. They have all kinds of theories, whatever. You know, none of that matters. What matters is the relationship is asserting itself, and that's all we need to know. All right. All I'm interested in are levels and price action around levels within the context of a trend. That is all I care about, especially as a swing trader. I don't care about news. I don't care what people are saying. I don't care what the experts are saying, because no one knows anything. Unless you're an insider, unless you're the developer of a coin, and you tell me something that no one else knows, then I'll believe you. Or if you're, Elon Musk calls me up and says, hey, I'm going to give you a little secret here. Don't tell anyone, but I'm going to make this announcement where I'm going to tell everyone I'm buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Cool. Elon, does anyone else know about this? No, only my friends and family. Cool. You know what? Great. I'm going to buy some Bitcoin too. That's it. Unless you have a personal call from someone like that, no one knows anything. Okay, so basically, I'm exaggerating, but what I'm talking about is inside information. If you don't have inside information, do not believe people that claim to know what they're doing, especially if it's public. All right, it's crazy, some of the stuff I see out there. It's really crazy. Anyway, all right, so let's see what other questions I have here. I know I get dramatic at times, but I just drama. It's fun. All right, so that's the answer there. In terms of previous question, is the existing support 30 still intact? Okay, I think I answered that question. Okay, Deb from Dubai. Hey, nice, cool. Please check SCBT. All right, let's take a look. SCBT. I'm gonna try to get to everyone's questions, so I really appreciate you asking them. I'm guessing this is a coin. Let's see. Is there a USD? What is SCBT, and why do I only see it against Bitcoin? Is that the only thing that exists for it? So do I have to look at it in terms of BTC? Let's see, what is that? SCBT. Maybe I don't have the right symbol here. Hold on. That looks like the right symbol. Yeah. Okay, hold on. So SCBT, BTC. SCBT, hold on. Just stuck on the symbol here. On Binance. Let's take a look. All right, this is what I'm getting. I don't know if this is the right coin. Stop me if I'm wrong. I'll look through the chat to see if I'm got. Oh, that was a while ago. Oh man, I have like a million questions. Okay, no, I put it in there. Scicoin. Okay, got it. All right, so this is it. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. So all right, look, broader trend bullish. If this thing is against Bitcoin, I have to say this. I don't like cross pairs. Okay, this is a cross pair. And I didn't see anything against the dollar. I didn't see anything against Tether. So I guess maybe you don't have a choice with this one. But you're looking at two unstable instruments together, right? Bitcoin is not stable. And SCB or whatever that thing is called, if it's some kind of coin, it's probably not stable either. Now, so what that means is the levels aren't going to be as reliable. But let's just assume that they are, all right? You have the bullish trend, and you have the break, right? Similar to Bitcoin, you have this support break right here, which is, that's like a million zeros and then 61, right? So this thing is like a fraction of a penny or whatever, and a fraction of a penny, whatever that is. If it breaks, or Bitcoin, that's actually in terms of Bitcoin. So if it breaks the support, I would look at this support right here, this low right there. That's basically equivalent to the 30K low on Bitcoin. And you're stuck right in the middle, similar to what kind of Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin is trying to break a little higher. This thing isn't even doing that. So I don't know. This thing, if anything, if I didn't know anything about this coin, and I just looked at this chart, and I didn't know there was any relation to Bitcoin, I would be looking actually for this thing to break lower, or I'd be looking for the double bottom. Okay, I don't like buying into lower highs, especially with this structure here. Now, this is not a bearish trend. This is a corrective situation, right? It's correcting the broader bullish trend, but the momentum, the price action hasn't stabilized here yet. That's all I can really say about that one. And again, you're following Bitcoin. All right, so thanks for asking about that. Let me jump over to the other chat. Again, I appreciate everyone's questions, and I really want to try to answer them all. All right, I don't know if I'll be able to answer them all again today. So let's see how we're doing. Travel, hey, good to see you. My opinion, considering how long would I choose not to enter in any long now? In fact, I haven't. Okay, look, that's okay, right? You don't have to take a trade. Just because the market may be at a bottom, right, possibly, you don't have to trade if you don't like the situation, or if the risk doesn't fit your profile or your tolerance. It's okay. You don't need the best price, all right? What's really more important is getting involved when the environment is more favorable. So that often means you have to sacrifice the best price, which is okay. So nothing wrong with that. We stay out of a lot of trades, and people can't understand why. We're not chasing the reward. We're looking at the risk, and the risk doesn't always make sense, okay, especially for our tolerance. All right, let's see what else I have here. So good question there. ANKRUSD. Let's take a look. I've heard of that one. Oh, what a Visionary sent me 200 coins. Thank you so much, Visionary. Hey, thank you. You don't have to send me any coins. I'm not like one of these guys on YouTube asking people for money. Anyway, and accepting donations for nothing. I mean, it's not like it costs money to run the YouTube channel, but I don't know. Maybe he's got a high rent to pay. Can you please take a look at gold and HNTUSD? Okay, cool. Hey, no problem. I appreciate that. Thank you. I will get into those. Let me just do ANKR real quick. So again, we're going to get a lot of Bitcoin repeats here, and that's what this looks like. Again, although this one has more of a consolidation. Look at this. So this situation right here, this whole thing right there, that's a nice consolidation. Why is it nice? Because you have a common low right around there, okay? It goes slightly lower, but I like to see common prices like that because that means someone is stepping in there, right? And that's around the 11-cent area, and it's coming off of that. So the 11-cent area you can define as risk. Maybe you can even use 10 cents to define your risk, meaning if it goes lower than that, you should probably not be in it. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking from a swing trade perspective, not inventory or not investing. All right, there's a very big difference, and you need to understand that difference. So as far as a swing trade, and I don't really like these coins for swing trades, but 10 cents would probably be a good place. There is a buy signal in play right now, but just like Bitcoin, you haven't taken out this lower high at 11.5 cents right over here. So it may take it out, but it may not. If Bitcoin fails, this will probably test that 10-cent area again. So in these situations, right, now let me just say something about dollar cost averaging. In these situations, does it make sense to dollar cost average? I don't like to do it in these altcoins. Why? These are like penny stocks. No one makes money with penny stocks except for the people selling the penny stock or the people pushing penny stocks on other people, right? Penny stocks are like lottery tickets. And in these altcoins, I know no one likes when I say this, but all you're doing is making the developer rich. For most of these, they're like the dot-coms of 20 years ago. Many of them were just pointless. They had some interesting ideas, but as you know, many of them don't exist today. You don't even know their names. So people got away with a lot of money, and a lot of people invested in nonsense. So when it comes to inventory, you want to invest in high-quality instruments. Altcoins are not. All right, now you may say, but my friend made $1 million because he bought, $10,000 worth back in February or March or whatever. Right, that was a lottery ticket, okay? That time is over, and those times are rare. And a lot of people got fooled into thinking that February was, we're going to see that again. No, you're not going to see it again. At some point, these things will become out of favor, and there will be opportunities again. But as far as that lottery ticket game or dollar cost averaging, you need to make sure you do it in high quality instruments, because if this thing goes to zero, right, which is a high possibility for many of them, like penny stocks, that's the kind of risk you're taking. Again, this is all about risk. So where do you dollar cost average? Bitcoin, even though that's still highly speculative, it's better than this thing. All right, because it's got all the fundamentals, it's got the recognition, it's got all the things it needs to be around a long time. These things are highly speculative, is my point. A stock like Intel, we all know Intel, we all know Amazon, we all know Nvidia, we all know Microsoft, we all know Walmart. Those companies will be around probably in 50 years, maybe longer, right? So if you're going to invest, if you're going to dollar cost average, it makes sense to do it in something that offers high quality. ExxonMobil, Marathon Petroleum. I could rattle off many, many names of high quality stocks that pay you to hold on to them. And some people, but this Anchor pays, you buy the little computer thing and you generate, they use your computer space and blah, 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 and this and that, and they pay you in coins, tokens, whatever. Yeah, that's nice, but that's like giving you worthless paper almost, right? They're not paying you. You could transfer your tokens into dollars at some point, but what are they going to be worth? Especially if there's 1 billion of them available, right? People don't realize most of these altcoins, there's like, if you look at their floats, they're ridiculous. So a lot of them really can't justify their prices. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that rant much longer. All right, let's talk about other things here. So Anchor. So you have that Bitcoin situation. Sorry about the long rant. Let me see what else I got here. I got a lot of questions. All right, thanks. Hey, no problem, Schwartz. Okay, go forth and multiply. Yes, that's a great idea. Your rants are... I like. Oh, you must be from Australia. Okay, photo. Okay. Yeah, and it's, you know what it is? Photo guy says the jokers get the big followers. Well, that's because they're appealing to the crowd, right? The crowd, the herd, you should see the comments that I saw in this one video. It was very hard for me to watch, okay, and not say anything. We don't get that kind of action here because everyone here is much more informed. But these were complete mindless, reactive, just pure herd mentality. Now, we need these people. We need them because otherwise, who's going to take the other side of our trade, right? But the point is, these people seek hope, and they buy dreams, right? They say, as a salesperson, you sell the sizzle of the steak. You're not actually selling the steak. Well, you know what I sell? I sell reality. Actually, I don't even sell it. I promote it. Forget the steak. I give you the raw piece of meat. No one wants the raw piece of meat that you have to cook yourself. They want the sizzle. That's what they pay for, okay? That's what these guys sell, and they do a very good job at it. I've never been about that because I've been misled for a very long time, and I definitely don't like being misled. All right, so let me see. Alex, cool. Okay, Travel. I think we can agree with followers appreciate your work and can tell, right, you give it, well, I appreciate that. Right, Travel, it's just a lot less people. It's because, like I just said, I don't appeal to the crowd. All right, let's see the other chat I have here. SOL. Let me take a look. SOL. I'm guessing that's a coin. And Visionary, I'm going to get to you here in a moment. So again, look at these coins. Now they all have slightly different looks, right? But their bigger picture doesn't lie. This, all right? That means right there, when I see that, that is, hey everyone, I follow Bitcoin. That's what that says right there. Now, this recent price action, you can say, wow, no, look, it's doing better than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's not really showing that great of a buy signal, and this thing's on its way. You got the higher low, all that stuff. It's nice. But again, it's the Bitcoin trade all over again. So in something like this, keep something in mind. When these things get a little green, just go on YouTube and look at the hype. You know, oh, Solana's going to do this and that, and you're going to be a billionaire in 5 hours. Just buy as much of it as you can now. Right? I see this nonsense. And then you go watch the video. Well, you know, they have a connection with this and, you know, they're going to do this. And blah, 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 blah. Come on with this nonsense. Please. People don't see through this yet. Anyway, point is, it's a Bitcoin copy. It's, again, another Bitcoin copy trade. You can look at your risk from two places. 25 half, right? Which I said is highly probable that it gets stopped out there. You know, or you're looking at the low here of basically... We're going to round that to $20, okay? And which is equivalent to 30K on Bitcoin. That is the deal. So if Bitcoin can find legs, all of these are going to go. So if you want to take that risk, again, I always tell people, there are buy signals everywhere right now. Doesn't mean you can take them all, and it doesn't mean they're all going to work, because if Bitcoin fails, just like they were all there, they will all go away at the same time. So you don't want to be at the mercy of the market. You don't want to be in a situation where you have 10 or 15 positions on. They're all red on you, and you're going to get emotional and bang out at the wrong time, right? You don't want to be in that situation. So if you're going to take one, maybe two, or something like that. But again, focus on risk. Your risk is two places, right? The higher low or the low. You have to decide which one is more appropriate for you. Just keep in mind, I keep warning against this higher low. It's highly probable to get stopped out. You must put a stop in these situations. You must respect it. Because if it breaks and Bitcoin breaks 30K, these things are going to get hammered. And there are a lot of people right now that are in very vulnerable positions, right? Because a lot of these people bought in from the high in February. They bought into those highs. They're in pain, they're taking pain, and they hope that this market comes back. And now Bitcoin's gyrating a bit, and it's giving them hope. Maybe they're buying more. If Bitcoin has that next break, you're going to have a lot of people in a lot of pain, and they're going to start banging it out. You're going to see a lot of banging out, and you don't want to get caught in that mess, okay? That's a time to buy once it stabilizes, again, for inventory. But like I said, stick to the leaders. Bitcoin is a leader. All right, so thanks for asking about that. I hope that answers your question adequately. All right, let me see what else I got here. I got so many questions. I'd really like to answer them all. Hey, cool, thanks, Nurburger. I think we all, okay, cool. So Rowan, hi, Netherlands, nice. What are your thoughts on Elliott Wave? All right, so I mentioned gold and Elliott. I mentioned that. I think I answered that question. Gold and yeah, gold and Bitcoin. New York City. I got a New York City guy here. I always complain. Zal Moxis. Hey, cool. I have this complaint where, you know, I have people like watching me from all over the world. The furthest reaches of the globe, people are watching me, right? And I don't have one guy from New York City. I have a guy from Poughkeepsie, though. Jesse, he comes in here and says, hey, I'm from Poughkeepsie. You're cool, but it's not the city. I got one guy from New York City. I said Zal the other day, I said, I know why I have no one from New York City. It's because they're all following Kramer. Right? But oh, cool. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining me from New York City. At least I got to one guy, you know, right across the river over here. Okay, cool. Scott, I have allocated 75% of my long-term inventory cash into buying Bitcoin at 36K. 75%. If we reverse bullish from here, what should I wait for to use the remaining 25%? Okay, well, first of all, let me go back to Bitcoin here for a second. If we reverse bullish from here, right, it's trying... It needs to start breaking resistances, for one, if you want to put more of that to work. Now, you said you've allocated 75% of your long-term inventory. All right. Now, I hope that's not your full portfolio. I hope that's 75% of your predetermined allocation, meaning you said, okay, look, I got $10,000, 7,500 of it is allocated, but I have, you know, I have money in other things too. It's just this 10,000 is just for Bitcoin. Okay, that's fine. So where should you put in the other 25%? Well, one place to start would be the break of the high, right? The break of the, buying the breakout, because in this case, look, you have some flexibility when it comes to inventory. You can play around a bit, and when things are starting to push your way, it's okay if you buy the breakout in those situations, because again, you're not going in with some large amount. You're taking smaller bites. But really, the best way to do it is not by level. When you're dealing with inventory, it really should be more by time. And you could do something like 1st of the month, 15th of the month, you're going to buy $50 worth, or you're going to buy $100 worth, right? No matter where it is. But if it starts to break lower, those are better opportunities. So instead of buying $50 worth, you buy maybe $200 worth if it breaks 30K, because now you're getting better prices and you're buying more of it at lower prices, right? As it goes higher, you want to kind of scale into it smaller and smaller, because you're taking more and more risk as it goes higher, right? So that's how you adjust for that. So I hope that answers your question. That's a great question, Scott. Thanks for asking. Okay, cool. Oh, all right, so you're not from Aussie. Okay, cool. Scott, also, how much of my should I keep liquid? Should I be all in? For instance, is that what? Well, here's the thing. All in, really, you should reserve that for extreme situations, right? Bitcoin is not in an extreme situation. It's not. Extreme is 15K or 10K. That's extreme. It's a low probability, but it can happen. That's what you want to have money sitting on the side for. If we never get that opportunity, then you can put your money to work, the remaining money, you can put it to work as Bitcoin starts to show better structure and starts to look like it used to look, with the higher lows and the higher highs, right? And you could put more to work. The thing in that situation, again, is once it starts pushing higher prices like 50K, 55K, 60K, you want to start taking something off the table, right? You want to start reducing your position, taking those profits, because again, when a pullback comes along at some other point, now you have all that extra money to put back to work. All right, so it's basically, again, you're playing the inventory game. You're buying wholesale and you're selling retail, selling straight to the retail traders. All right, so good question there, Scott. All right, let me jump over here. Rebecca, wheat, I'm not sure. Oh, wheat as in the contract of wheat? I didn't know anyone trades those things. So let me see if I can even pull that up, if that's what she's talking about. Wheat, look, so here's the CFD of wheat. Like as in the stuff that you make bread out of. I mean, look, this is an inflationary situation, right? I mean, that's what you're playing here. You're playing inflation, or the inflation struggle. And this thing has been strong, clearly higher lows and higher highs. As we know, we do have inflation. The Fed just recognized, we have a little inflation, but it's transitory, they say. Right, thanks, Captain Obvious. Anyway, so here we go. You're at a support. This old resistance is a new support at 645.31. All right. It tried to break a little higher. Look, I'm not an expert with these things. Like, a chart is a chart, but all I can tell you is, if you're playing the CFD or if you're playing the futures, you need to understand the contract specifications, how much each contract is worth, what the tick values are and stuff like that. And these really are not, I don't like these instruments as long-term type of investments. Much better for short-term, especially if things change with the dollar. They're going to be very sensitive to inflation and the dollar. So all I can tell you is risk is defined at 645. That's this low over here. Like I said, that support area. If you buy this now and it goes there, you should probably take the loss. Other than that, your support is 597, or basically the $600 area. All right. Again, you're basically playing the dollar in that situation. All right. So cool. That's a good question. Let me jump over to the other chat. Let me see how I'm doing with time. All right. So I'm not doing too bad. Oh, Luxembourg. Nice. Nice. Okay, cool. Mexico. Mucho gusto. From Mexico. Nick from Mexico. All right. ¿Cómo estás? All right, I didn't say the Spanish, but the Spanish accent. Okay, you should start your own YouTube channel. We have one. All right, let's see. Nohu. Absolutely correct. BTC is leading. Just look at ETH. Right. So all the altcoins follow Bitcoin, as you know, right? He just said it. Checking in from West Coast. Oh, here we have a West Coast guy here. I missed the initial part of the stream. Can you please repeat? Okay, no, you know what? So all you have to do, George, is when I finish the stream, you can go back and watch it once it processes. And you can watch it from the beginning, because I just want to try to get through some questions. I have someone here asking for ETH. Right, so let's take a look here. Oh, and I got to answer Visionary's question because he gave me some coins. I can't forget this guy. That's why I keep the reminder on my screen there. All right, so let's go to Ethereum. We have a question here on Ethereum, and let me see here. Let me go. Okay, this chart. All right, now, so again, copy of Bitcoin, except Ethereum's a little more enthusiastic. All right, so people are going to get excited about this. Again, this is going to excite all the gurus and all the experts. Oh, Ethereum's going to go. Right, it's following Bitcoin. All right, so the buy signal was 24.80 was the high. This thing right now is at 26.34, so it's slightly higher than that high. Risk is defined in those same two spots, like all those other coins we just looked at. Right, so you're looking at 21.82. You can round that to 21.50. And then you're looking at 1728, which is equivalent to the 30K low. So what Ethereum needs to do, if you buy this thing, you need to see it take out 28.93, or basically 29. Needs to take that out. Now these altcoins, especially Ethereum, because there's so much hype and because there's so many big mouths moving this thing, a lot of times it tends to break, right? And it sucks everyone else. And we got to break out. And then it fails, right? Why? Because Bitcoin is usually not doing its job. So you have to be very prepared for that type of situation if it gives it. Now, look, I could be wrong, and I'm anticipating the fake out, yes, but I could be wrong, and maybe it breaks out and keeps going. In that situation, if you're in it, you just sit back and let it do its job. Let it ride if you take that trade. If you don't like that entire idea, whatever, you don't have to take the trade, right? But my point is, if this thing fools around, your chances of getting stopped out are high if you use that high or low situation. And the reason is the broader trend, while the bigger picture is bullish, we're still competing with this right here. This is still in play. So we have to keep that in mind when it comes to the short term. I'm not calling this a bear market. It's just a bearish momentum. It's a structure that's still in the way. And like I said, if we have this stock market situation, we have to see how this week plays out, especially with NFP on Friday. If we have some kind of selling activity, and the S&P, as we looked, and the NASDAQ are in vulnerable areas, if we do get a break there, I'm not expecting a lot of bullish activity in these coins, okay? So like I said, I could be wrong, but here's a very good thing, a very good idea that you really need to consider. If you're wrong, but you're not in the market, what do you lose? Do you lose anything? If you're wrong about what you thought the market was going to do, but you didn't place a bet, you could be wrong hundreds of times and still have your money. I'd rather be wrong that way than wrong with money in the market. Okay, so thanks for asking about Ethereum. Let me see what else here. Flower Power. Hi, from south of France. Cool. You do. Oh, thank you. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't sell the sizzle. I've learned, oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for, okay, cool. Matic. All right. Thank you for the nice compliment. All right, Matic. And then Visionary, I'm going to get to yours, okay? Because I keep seeing it there and I keep wanting to answer it and I don't answer it. All right, Matic. So Matic was one of these coins that got a little ahead of itself, right? When Bitcoin tried to bounce, this thing got really excited. And we talked about this in one of my streams. We talked about this in MKR. And people are like, wow, how's this thing up, 100% or blah, 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 whatever people were saying. And it just gets over exaggerated, right? So what about Matic now? Well, so you have this situation. This is a buy signal developing, right? You have a nice little higher low. You have this bullish candle close. Current candle is an inside bar. It needs to close. You may get that buy signal. But just like Bitcoin, what are your risks? Well, here we go. So $1.51, which is this swing low right there, likely to get stopped out. Again, and why do I keep saying that? Because this whole structure, just like Bitcoin, is most likely a consolidation. It's most likely a triangle. So in triangles, right, we get a lot of false starts, a lot of false breaks, a lot of hope, a lot of dreams, right? And then they break the wrong way and it shakes a lot of people out. That's why in these situations, I don't like these type of higher lows inside of a consolidation. I prefer the range low, which takes a lot more patience to wait for. And that goes for all of them. Everything we just looked at, 10 different coins, they all kind of look like this. It's the same situation. But if you want to be aggressive and you want to give it a try, it's the same deal. You can define your risk from here. You can define your risk from this pin bar low at 74 cents and see what the market delivers after that. You need the break of this high. And if Bitcoin can't break its high, these things are going to go nowhere. All right. And that's what you need to keep in mind. It's better to be realistic, not optimistic. I know people don't like when I say that. No, you're so negative. You're so negative. I'm not negative. I like to be realistic, especially when money's involved. All right, so let me see what else I have. That's a good question. Okay, Visionary. Let me get to Visionary's question here. So HNTUSD and gold. Oh, so I talked about gold. All right, so you could go back earlier on the stream. After I finished the stream, I covered gold. Gold was part of my regular analysis part. HNT. I want to go to H. Why am I not getting HNT? Am I getting the right thing? Oh, HNT. Okay. And then USD. Okay, here we go. I just can't type today. Today's Monday. Where's my Monday guy? Is he here? I have one guy. I think he's from Lithuania. And he says, I like Mondays because, of my streams. I'm still working on that Monday thing. So, all right, look at this range. So you have a nice broad bullish trend. All right. Now, again, this is a coin. So I'm going to assume that it's following Bitcoin. Now, they don't all follow exactly, right? So you're not going to see exactly the same look. But as you can see, look at this, right? It's pulled back off of this high. All I can see here is we have a range, and we're in the middle of the range right now. The range high is defined at $20, or basically $21, which it just came off of just a couple of days ago, which is interesting. When I see stuff like this, and it's sort of doing its own thing, often there's a lot of hype involved. Or there's a chat room somewhere where they're feeding all of their people some kind of information that gets it all excited, right? And and who's benefiting from that? It's the ones that are holding all the coins, which are usually the developers. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but I think a lot of them are taking advantage of this situation. And I don't want to be part of that. Anyway, so you have the range high there. The range low is here at basically 8.38, or basically 8.25, right? 8.25 area. And you're fooling around at 15, which is right in the middle of the range. So I don't like middle of the range. That's a clear range. We could see the channel here, right? So middle of range is highly random. It's 50-50. It might go, it might not go. So what do you do here? I don't like to take those type of gambles. I prefer the range low. So it requires patience. You're better off waiting for the range low. Even if that higher low develops, there's no way to know if it's going to test that high again. It's like playing a slot machine. So that's what I say about HNT. Whenever you see these situations, the range low is the better place. Somewhere near the range low. It doesn't have to go exactly to the low, but it'd be nice if it can give you a buy signal near the range low. Your reward risk and your probability are just better there. At some point, if this consolidation stays intact and the whole space appreciates, right, led by Bitcoin, I would expect a breakout from this consolidation, because often consolidations are nothing more than broad continuation patterns, right? Trend continuation patterns. And this trend is not bearish, not yet, right? So I'd be expecting a breakout at some point, But if the space goes out of favor, kind of like the cannabis sector or some of these other, flavor of the moment type of sectors, then you could see the ranges go on and persist for a while, like that gold chart that I showed, right? That range 4. I'll show it again since you asked about gold. That situation, okay? Not now. Now, no, gold's going to 5,000, right? That's what people are going to say now. But I'm talking about this. No one was saying gold was going to go to 5,000 when it was doing that. That's a persistent consolidation. Some people were arguing gold was in a bearish trend. That's not a bearish trend. And people say, how can you say that's not a bearish trend when it keeps going lower and lower and lower? Well, if you look at the bigger picture, that's not a bearish trend. There's nothing bearish about this. Nothing. All this was doing was correcting part of it. As you could see, it found its low and turned. That's a consolidation, a corrective consolidation, or a wave 2 or possibly wave 4, right? Corrective waves, that's how they behave. So that's what I'd be looking for. That's what I'm expecting out of Bitcoin, which can persist for months. And that's going to have an effect on, all these altcoins, whether it's Matic, whether it's HNT, they're all going to be affected by that. Unless there's some specific news that gets the thing going on its own. But that's news driven a lot of the time. And a chart will not help you when something is purely news driven like that. Okay. So thanks for asking. Princeton, New Jersey. Is that right? Wow, that's about an hour away from me. Cool, Princeton, very cool. Thanks for joining me. All right, I'm getting some more Northeast. I guess they're getting tired of Kramer. Thanks from Princeton, the world. Nice, cool, thank you. Then right, from Princeton, New Jersey to Cairo. Right, so many YouTubers shilling rubbish. I like that word, rubbish. He's not even from the UK and he's saying rubbish. I'm happy you never. What does he say here? I'm happy. Hold on, let me go back to that. I'm happy you never do that and provide. I appreciate that. I appreciate that from Cairo. Well, welcome. Thank you. That's a nice compliment. Well, yeah, and that's the whole idea. I mean, I want to provide a quality stream. I don't like to waste my time or other people's time on nonsense, right? Especially since I'm not asking for donations and stuff. People give me some coins here on TradingView. It's not like I can buy stuff with those coins. But again, I appreciate that. I appreciate the generosity and all that. But these other guys, they put a link on there, hey, please donate, blah, blah, blah. I could see if you were playing the guitar or something, and you're an artist and you need money. I understand that, but not for this. I think that's kind of, cheesy. Anyway, all right. Let me see what else we got here. So thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see what else we got. ETH 145 beta, ADA. All right, so ETH I covered. One ADA and DOT. So I guess he's talking about the correlations there, right? But since you mentioned ADA and DOT, let me pull those up real quick, all right? Because I know they're very popular. ADA, and I can turn this thing off, Visionary. Again, I appreciate that, Visionary. Thank you very much. All right, you don't have to send me any coins. I really appreciate that, though. All right, I'm just happy people are here. I'm happy that I can help people and answer questions. So here's Cardano. Cardano's a big hype coin. We all know that. And they may have some good things going on. I don't care about their fundamentals. All I'm interested in is chart. Chart is consolidating. That's all I can tell you. So broader trend on Cardano is bullish, right? Yeah, we see that. But look at this little tight range developing. Again, going to suck a lot of people in. Bitcoin follower. So if Bitcoin breaks, it's the same situation as all the other coins we looked at. Here are the levels you should focus on. And again, I hope when I finish the stream that you're taking notes with these levels and noting what type of action we're anticipating upon a break or a hold of those levels. That's what's going to help you when the market is doing its thing and to give you the confidence to take the right action. And if you're not sure, don't take any action. There's nothing that forces you to get into these things. I don't care what anyone is saying anywhere else. You have to be comfortable. All right, now, so on ADA, again, it's basically $1.50. And then you're looking at $1.31. I mean, and that coincides to 30K on Bitcoin, and then that current level on Bitcoin, which I think is 33K, something like that. Like I said, if those levels break, that's where you should be stopping out for your swing trade. Take your loss. Don't be going into hope mode. That's for swing trades. I have to keep repeating that. It's not for inventory. All right, inventory. First of all, for inventory, you should be following some kind of schedule. Like I said, you don't want to get too big too fast. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm going to buy $1,000 now, and if it pulls back more, I'll buy $1,000 more, and it breaks more, I'll buy $1,000 more. Meanwhile, all you have is $5,000. You shouldn't be doing that. Okay, you know, you have to make things very small so that you're not at the mercy of the market, and then you can handle that. One nice thing about, and ADA again, not a good choice for dollar cost averaging anyway. What's nice about these coins in general is you can determine your own size, right? I mean, in the stock market, yeah, sure, you could buy one share at a time of things, which is cool. But like Forex, for example, you know, you're kind of stuck with their specifications. So, you know, a micro lot, their definition of a micro lot, which is usually 1,000 units, that kind of thing. With these coins, you decide how much you want to, you know, average into. And that's what's nice. You can do it with a small account because you can get very small and stay proportional to the account. That is what protects you. Again, without using leverage, because leverage doesn't protect you. Leverage increases risk. I haven't talked much about that, but I don't want to rant on that for 2 hours here. All right, so thank you for asking about that. All right, let me jump over here. What else do I got? I got to wrap this up soon. Views on CLF. All right, let's see. What is CLF? Is that a stock? Let me see. Or is that a coin? Let me see. I'm guessing. I see it's against. Oh, is this a coin? No. What is CLF? Is that a stock? Let me know. I'm guessing it's a stock. Maybe you could put it in the chat. I got to really scroll in the chat here to see that one. Yeah. So just, you know, if you can follow up on that CLF. I don't want to talk about it if I have the wrong symbol here. Let me see here. Let me just go back to the chat. Where was that CLF? Okay. All right, hold on. Just going back. Wow, these people posted stuff like an hour ago. All right, I appreciate that. Okay, hold on. CLF. All right, so please ask me again about CLF. All right, ETH will be good this year. All right, well, that's an opinion, but, you know, I don't have any opinions. Hello from Athens. Nice, Athens. Do you ever use VCP patterns and pivots for breakouts? All right, VCP, can you explain what that is, VCP? I'm not familiar with that term, VCP. And pivots for breakouts. No, I don't use pivot points. They're not really necessary. Now look, pivot points are something that are generated from a formula, right? Pivot point comes from an average price, you know, a typical price, which is the high, low, plus the close, right? Divide that by 3, you get your average price, and then they put standard deviations on it, and that gives you pivot points. So it's going to be relative to like the previous day's typical price, which is fine because it's generated from price information. But I like to use support and resistance levels because that's where actually people are placing orders, right? And that really kind of goes back to order flow. That's why, for me, it's more important to evaluate highs and lows and price structures. All right, so again, if you can just elaborate what you mean by VCP patterns, I can answer that better. All right, okay, this guy's speaking in I don't know, it's another language there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe you could translate that into English. All right, could take a look at ETH, looked at it, all right. All right, yeah, this guy's speaking another language. Not sure what that is. Okay, cool, no problem. All right, let me jump over to the other chat. Let me see what I got here. I got so much stuff going on over here. I can't keep up. All right. Okay, so I went over Anchor. All right, cool. All right, travel. All right, I'm just catching up here. Netherlands, got that. All right, I say you guys don't give Mark likes because you don't want his stream to catch on. But Mark would have so many people. No, I appreciate that. He's joking. Here's the guy from New York City. Okay, I'm just catching up. I went over that one. Okay, got it. All right, man, I'm still behind here. Wheat. Okay, that's where I left off. Wheat. All right, so IAD asks for 1 USD. Harmony 1. All right, let's take a look. ONE USD. Let's take a look at that. All right, on Binance. And all right, so again, another Bitcoin copy. Here we go. Consolidation, right? Broad consolidation, high or low. Buy signal right now. Same type of risk situation, all right? So your risk is basically measured from 07, this 0775 area right there, or this low here of 0576, which is equivalent to the 30K low on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can't do its job, none of these will. So if you're interested in it as a swing trade, those are the points you need to measure your risk from. If it breaks those points, you know, you have to decide to take that loss. All right. Again, I can't repeat that enough. As far as inventory, you take in these situations, if you want to take a small bite because you like the general coin and you might think it's at a better price, I just wouldn't go crazy with these. All right, I wouldn't go crazy with them. That's why I look at them more from a short-term oriented swing trade perspective compared to inventory. A lot of them have gotten beaten up and they're at much better prices for inventory in general. It's just not a good idea to take, let's just say you have $10,000 and that's all you got to invest in anything, right? $10,000. You should not be 100% invested in these things. Maybe 10, 20, maybe 30%, right? So you distribute maybe $2,000 or $3,000 across some of these things for your inventory. The other 70%, you should be, keeping some of that on the side in dollars so that you can jump into the stock market when the stock market offers a quality opportunity. It's not there right now. Okay, so that's why I think you're better off being in dollars right now, rather than stocks. So anyway, right, not until they pull back. So let me see what else we got here. So that's one USD. Scott, I also wanted to thank you guys. Okay, shaking out of Bitcoin just after Mar, and I joined. Okay, waited for. Oh, I appreciate that. Okay, appreciate that. Thanks for your. I didn't buy into any of the FOMO while always being so much. Now I have waited for the wave 4 you guys have mentioned and saw it in gold. Okay, cool. So Scott is basically learning to see the bigger picture, right? And that's really where all this comes from. The bigger picture. I look at that first. Everyone's very caught up on the smaller picture, and I understand why. Every one genius after another, they're looking at like 5-minute charts, they're looking at 1-hour charts, 4-hour charts. That's cool if you're day trading, okay? But we're not day trading. So those charts, that's why I say they're not relevant for our time frame. All right, hello from Canada. Nice. Can you take a look at ETH BTC? All right, so here's the thing. I'm going to take a look at that real quick, ETH BTC. But here's the thing. It's a cross pair, like I just said before. And cross pairs, this looks very similar to the dollar chart. But it's Ethereum against Bitcoin. It's like watching gold against silver, right? So if one is moving faster than the other, this thing will obviously go higher. So it's the same situation, right? It looks a little more enthusiastic. In fact, this thing looks like it's got a nice breakout potentially setting up. But if Bitcoin fails, the story. It's the same deal. So if you want to get involved in terms of, you want to buy Ethereum in terms of Bitcoin, you're looking at what, 0.065 as one risk point, which is a high probability place to get stopped out because this thing can easily turn. Why do I keep saying that? Because this is most likely a triangle. This is most likely a range. And you can say, but look at the trend. This is bullish. Yes, that is bullish. But because Bitcoin is in the situation it's in, it doesn't matter. This thing doesn't trade on its own. This thing obviously depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum needs to move higher, faster than Bitcoin, which it's doing, for this thing to appreciate, right? So something to keep in mind there. That's why I don't like these cross pairs. I prefer against a stable coin, on the other side of the equation. So thank you for asking about that. It goes to the same for Forex pairs as well. When we do anything with Forex, it's always, euro against dollar, pound against dollar. We stay away from things like euro pound because it's like, it's very erratic and we want more stability than that. Okay. Even with the broad brush, is there any way to project how long wave 4? No, there's no way to know how long the wave will go on for. Like with gold, for example, we knew we were in a wave 4. I had talked about it dozens of times when we were in, before this move, of course, because we got into gold at the bottom of it. But I talked about being in the wave 4 for a long time. And it's just a matter of waiting it out and waiting for resistances to break. The market needs to tell you when it wants to get out, all right? And it still may actually be in the wave 4. This is no guarantee that we're out of it. It just means that we might be in the broad. This could be the first leg of the broader wave 5. It's possible, but we haven't taken out these resistances yet, especially the 2075. That's the confirmation. Of course, we want to be in before that, right? We want to get in before something like that. But my point is, there's no way to know how long the wave will persist for. The market needs to tell you, so you're not going to know in advance. But one thing you can do is you can define the low in advance. All right, and that's really going to be relative to the previous wave, wave 3. If you do some measurements on that, a lot of times the previous wave 4 of the wave 3, a lot of time the broad wave 4 will find support in a similar area. You can also use a fib tool for something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that right now because I have to wrap this up soon and because I'm going overboard because I like to talk. All right. So thank you for asking that question. Yeah, I see people speaking other languages here. So I can't understand those. If you want to put that in English, that would be helpful. Okay. Oh, from Venezuela. Nice. Wow. Cool. I'm glad you can join us here. Then welcome. All right. Let me see what else we got here. New to coin token. What wallet or exchange allows you to place limit orders? What exchange do you use? All right, that's an interesting question. So, I mean, Binance and Coinbase, they pretty much, allow you to place limit orders and stuff like that. Their order entry is basic, which it should be. I lean more toward Coinbase. For one, I'm located in the US, so I can only use Binance US, even if I wanted to use Binance. Coinbase is a simple platform, and they're the more trusted of the exchanges, so I would research Coinbase. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, plus you don't have to use their Coinbase Pro platform. You can just go straight and buy, Bitcoin and stuff like that straight through their regular order entry thing that they have, their mechanism that they have set up for that. So you don't have to see all that movement and nonsense that you see on their platform, which is kind of set up like a slot machine. All right, but it's more so with Binance than Coinbase. I have to say that. All right, so I hope that answers your question there. The coins are really the least I can do other than the respect. As someone who has held multiple series licenses, I just appreciate your objective thought and process. Thank you for. Oh, I appreciate that, Visionary. No, I appreciate that. Okay, the coins meaning the ones the TradingView coins. As someone, okay, cool, yeah, all right. I appreciate the kind words. Do you post on other platforms? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, I simulcast on TradingView. I mean, TradingView, I have to say, is probably my primary platform. I like TradingView a lot. I have a good relationship with them. So, and I really like the community. I mean, I like the way TradingView does their work. I like their platform. They're really on top of things. Their community people are very good. Like the people that run the TradingView community, I like them a lot. And the community itself, I get a lot of good feedback from people here. People here tend to be more serious about technical analysis, which is important because you go to some of these other things, some of these other public platforms they don't really have charts. People are a complete mess. They're just like it's hard for me to have the patience for someone that's all hyped up on. It's like trying to deal with a little kid. I don't have a lot of experience dealing with little kids, but it's like dealing with a little kid hyped up on sugar. And it's hard for me to have the patience. At least here on TradingView, people are familiar with charts and they have some idea of how, technical analysis works. Even though it may be the wrong idea, at least they have some idea. Okay, so anyway, I hope that answers your question. Some may fail, but it's a good time to get in some early development. Right, so that's a good point you bring up, Fire, how do you pronounce your name? Many coins will fail, and I know I'm hard on a lot of these coins because I just don't see the value. And again, I could be wrong, but the thing is, if you're close to the project or you understand the project on a technical level, like we had a guy in one of our streams, and he's a very smart guy, and he's involved in the Bitcoin space. He has a business and stuff like that. He's a vendor, and he knows a lot of these coins really from a very technical point of view. You may have that knowledge, and if you do, and you believe in the technology, and you want to invest in that technology because you believe in it, then hey, that's on you. There's nothing wrong with that, but you just have to keep an eye on when things change. Now, let me just give you an example, right? A fundamental example. So Bitcoin, Bitcoin was at 65K not too long ago. Let me ask you a question. Have the fundamentals changed on Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other coins? Have the fundamentals changed? Not really. I don't think they've changed, right? Bitcoin's not like obsolete or anything. All we've had between now and 65K was just a lot of talk from Elon Musk and stuff like that. Just a lot of talk and a lot of hype. And this thing gave back 50% or more, slightly more, of its value in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? On no fundamental change. So what does that tell you about fundamentals? So that's what you have to keep an eye. That's why when I see these people talking this game on fundamentals, oh, fundamental this, oh, fundamental that, fundamental this, and people, they eat it up. Yeah, I like it. It's meaningless because the fundamentals, if they were so valuable, what's this 50% pullback all about? It's irrational. All right, so it doesn't. And then what do the experts say? Well, markets are risky. They can't explain it, right? Because it's irrational. It's behavioral based. That's why. So it doesn't matter what we think fundamentally, especially for the short term. I can't stress that enough. But to your point, if you believe in something long term, that's up to you. Okay. But I just personally don't believe in a lot of them. But I'm not technically as close as, I'm not a developer. I don't know the technology at that intimate of a level. Okay. Thank you, Sci-Fans. SJ Finance. Thank you for answering my questions today. I appreciate the coins. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you're learning. That's the whole idea. I mean, it makes me happy when people learn and they're getting better information than the fakes that are out there, right? Because that's my whole point. All right, I got to wrap this up. Yeah, I definitely have to wrap this up. All right, so one more. Let me just do one more question. This guy, I just see a guy here put who is Kramer. Hold on, I just saw something here real quick. Wait, where was that? Where was that? Hold on, that makes me laugh. Where is that? The guy put in here. I don't know if he's joking. Who is Kramer? I hope not Kramer, man. I don't know. I don't know if he's Kramer the Screamer, right? Okay, I don't know. Maybe the guy doesn't know who Kramer is. If you don't know who Kramer is, just Google him. Jim Cramer. All right, he's very famous. He's been famous for a very long time in this. He's bald and angry, just like me. He's a little older, though, and he's much more well-received or whatever. He's on a mainstream news outlet. So anyway, he's been there for a long time, has a big, successful career, and he came from Harvard. I know a lot about Cramer. And he lives in New Jersey. I also live in New Jersey. So we have a lot in common. Anyway, but I think I'm better looking, but it doesn't matter. All right, I just had to make a joke about that. All right, sorry. All right, sorry, Kramer. If Kramer sees this, hey, I'm sorry. I'm just joking. All right, let me see where I am here. All right, so I got to answer some more questions. Let me go back. I got people putting countries all over the place. I just have to say something about the countries. Yeah, you can go back to Cardano. I went over it. Kamosi. No, who's that? This other guy here. Yeah, about ADA. I went over that. I see people from South Africa. I see people from, what was some of the, I saw Venezuela. That's so cool. All right, I see Holland. Nice, I appreciate that. All right, yeah, I got to wrap this up. Croatia, Netherlands. That's really cool. No, thank you for joining me. I know it's some strange hours in some of these places. I know, like in Europe, it's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night or something. And the further east you go, it's like, it's crazy hours over there. So people need to go to sleep. All right, hold on. Let me just go over my other chat here. Let me see. I answered 1 USD. All right. Scott says he's starting to add properly. That's good. London. Nice. Nice. From London. Okay, cool. Got some UK guys here. Michelle. Hey, nice to see Michelle. SNX. Okay, I got to do this for Michelle. Michelle's been following me a long time. All right, let me see. And SNX USDT. Let's take a look. Is this going to be another Bitcoin copy? Well, obviously I went over this before. I got little squares on my chart. So let's take a look. So we got the buy signal, right? Just like Bitcoin, we got the buy signal. Not much has changed here. You're looking at the range low, right? What is that? 10.39. So 10 and a quarter. You could round that to $10, right? So your risk is defined by $10. Again, nothing much has changed. If you buy this thing right now, it's at 13. It's almost $13. You're risking about $3 in this thing right now. You need to justify whenever you take a trade, a swing trade. Again, I have to be very specific. You need to justify that risk. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what's the chance that it can do $3? I mean, is it reasonable? Middle of the range is usually within reason. Okay, that's around 18 and a half. So if you're buying it at 13 and you're looking at maybe what we need to go to 16 something to justify it 1-to-1. Okay. So the reward risk makes sense. Again, and Bitcoin is in a similar situation. In fact, I would probably call this one before Bitcoin. How much is this thing again? Yeah, $12, $13, not too bad, because the reward risk is, in terms of dollars, it's a little more reasonable, I can say, although it's the same type of trade. If Bitcoin fails, this will fail. But if you're willing to take that risk, this would be a nice Bitcoin alternative. Right, 1-to-1 is about 16. If this thing could push to the range high, you're looking at 2-to-1. That's all good. So it's not a bad idea, and you're off the range low. Right, look at this consolidation since March, since the February peak. Right, so if you're going to do anything with it, now is a better time. But like I keep saying, It's really not deviating from Bitcoin here. It looks just like it. So it's just a Bitcoin copy. But out of all the charts we looked at, Michelle, I have to say I like this one more than many of the other ones, because I like that reward risk. I like that it's near that range low and you have that nice double bottom and failed low developing. This is a failed low because it went slightly lower than the previous low and it's failed to go lower. So I like that. I like that. I like that, even though, again, it's a follower. All right, I just have to keep emphasizing that. So thank you for asking. All right, can you have a look at MGA? All right, I got to wrap this up. Let me see how I'm doing with time. Yeah, I got to wrap this up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't answer all the questions. Hey, we got a guy from Texas. All right, Texas. Nice. All right, cool. So, all right, I'm going to leave it at that. If I missed your question, I can't. I have to. I'm sorry. I have to wrap this up. If I missed your question, I apologize, because I do like to try to answer everyone's questions. I appreciate everyone here mostly asking one question per person because it's fair for everyone else, and I do try to like to get through more questions. I do stream more than once a week, so for those of you that are not familiar with that, just you can look for me. Again, I want to thank you all for spending your time with me here today on this market holiday. I hope I gave you some valuable insight for the coming days in terms of reward risk and what we're anticipating in terms of price action. So other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for the coins, for the people that gave me those coins there on TradingView. And thank you for watching.